Listen, it's been a rough couple of weeks, few months even. I've gone hard at the FIA, run roughshod over their grave for their multitudinous mistakes of the unforced variety. Every man and their dog seems to be leaving them, and that's why I've been so harsh on them, starting fights off of Twitter and the Facebook F1 Emirati. But I think it's now more apropos than ever. I've done some introspection, looked deep down underneath inside, and I've got to take some blame here. This is a coming to be moment, and I just want to say now more than ever, from the bottom of my heart even, I want to apologise to the FIA for absolutely nothing. Now more than ever, they've got to take some accountability. And you know how I know why? Because Eddie Jordan on the Formula for Success podcast has come out and destroyed them worse than I have ever hitherto season to date. Here's what Eddie J said, the legend that is former Jordan team principal, man who broke the news that Lewis Hamilton was leaving McLaren to go to Mercedes. Here's what he had to say, again reflecting on the chaos, the madness that was the Grand Prix at Qatar last race weekend. Eddie Jordan said as follows, that around the decision to penalise Maximilian Verstappen and so too Lando Norris in the race for yellow flag gate, that the FIA is shambolic in that tone and all. What is going on with the FIA? Eddie Jordan says, and I quote, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, I know you. Look, I reached out to you. I really like you. I've known you for 35 years, but for Christ's sake, get a grip. What is going on with the FIA? Eddie Jordan's words, not my own. Yes, I may get banned for what I'm saying, that they might sack me off from being able to attend Grand Prix, but I don't care, because I just don't see that the FIA is behaving properly. What's going on, as at the time of writing, Eddie Jordan says, is wrong. No kidding, sir. Very well said. Sir, FIA is in an absolute mire, and at this juncture they are bringing the sport that we know and love, the sporting endeavour that is the one that F's into disrepute. Everybody's leaving the organisation. Mohammed Ben Sulayem, as at the time of writing, is basically looking to disband the audit committee. The committee, who as its remit is supposed to keep the FIA as the regulatory body of Formula One in check. For Pete's sake, Mohammed Ben Sulayem wants to mark his own homework. What are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? At this juncture, you hear it in my tone. I don't even have the emotional bandwidth to talk about this. I want to revel in Maximilian Verstappen's brilliance and his greatness. Have these conversations. What's going on with Lando? But yet and still, the FIA have me talking about them, and Eddie Jordan too. He continues, McLaren and Max should feel aggrieved. They investigate after the race normally. Why didn't they do that with Lando Norris's yellow flag? Especially considering the fact that it was towards the latter stages, that there was the nonsense as far as the safety car, the lights. Could they see them? Could they not see them? Were they on? Were they off? Again, if errors are a thing in F1, then the FIA are making them all the time with a frequency that barely beggars belief. This is nonsense. Eddie Jordan continues, why did they do that as far as Lando and Max at the Qatar Grand Prix? It makes no sense. Conspiracy people will say that this is Ferrari international assistance all over again. You'll recall during the Michael Schumacher years, peak Michael Schumacher years, 2000 to 2004, let's say, that Ferrari ran roughshod over the regulatory body. Every single time there was a toss-up decision to be made, it would fall in favour of Ferrari, hence the moniker Ferrari International Assistance for the FIA as a pseudonym. Eddie Jordan says the conspiracy theorists will now be coming out the woodworks, alluding to the fact that it looks and feels and smells like the FIA are trying to prop up Scuderia Ferrari, do them a favour, assist them in their aspirations to win themselves a Constructors' Championship in F1 2024. Eddie Jordan continues, in any jurisdiction in the world, in any circumstance, regardless of parameters, there must be fairness. The right to reply, therefore, mitigation, the ability to defend oneself, and Lando and Norris, so too Maximilian Verstappen in brackets, were denied the ability to do that. Well, Eddie Jordan, I will see you this and I will raise you this. Here's the problem. The right to reply, the parameters are far too fine. You need to tick and cross a gazillion boxes before you can even challenge the FIA's decision. So what right to reply, therefore, Eddie Jordan? What are we talking about here? Right to reply in Formula 1, right to challenge a decision like what PGMO were going through in football. That doesn't exist in F1 as at the time of writing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is an issue, particularly if we're about to bark up the regulatory tree that allows Mohammed Ben Sulayem to mark his own homework. The audit committee are gone. As near as makes no difference, a gazillion people have left that organisation over the last 36 months. Good people, by the way. We always say about F1 that there is lap time in attaining and keeping good people, and this is no different as far as the FIA's ability to carry out their remit, which is of course instituting the rules across the board in a way that's fair and consistent across all related parties, so too levelling, ensuring that the competitive landscape is levelled. David Coulthard replies, you know what, I think you're onto something here, mate. The GPDA letter went out not long ago asking a very basic hygiene factor requirement. The driver said, listen, can we just get treated like adults around here? And I don't think that's too much to ask. These millionaire drivers, by the way. Lewis Hamilton will join Ferrari next year on $100 million a year. And these are the guys that are asking to be treated like adults. There is a mismatch, surely. In F1, the drivers have always been the key assets because the sport is nothing without them. So why then do we have this mismatch as far as their expectations versus who they are? Why are the FIA treating them like children to where they need to ask for this in an Instagram post? Mohammed Ben Sulayem said, you'll recall, that I'm a driver. As far as his response to the GPDA letter was that I'm a driver, the drivers need to stay out of this. I will run the FIA the way I choose to run it, and they've got nothing to do with that. Coulthard responded in kind, saying, no, sir, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, you are an ex-driver. Coulthard says, I am an ex-driver. Who better to contribute to this mode of discourse than the current F1 drivers, not the old ones, not an ex-rally driver. These guys. George Russell is the head of the GPDA. Lewis Hamilton is going to Ferrari, mainstream crossover superstar. Max Verstappen is next up. Talk to them, engage them, therefore. This is not rocket science, nor is it calculus. This is very basic maths. It is counting. Coulthard continues, talk to the current drivers, who better to know than them. They will understand best than any of the stakeholders concerned with F1 as at the time of writing what they need. Coulthard bookends his statement as follows, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is where it gets techier than techie things. Coulthard says that it's this type of condescending behaviour that is baffling. You're not engaging the drivers at the level that you need to. You are doing the opposite. This is the antithesis of that. What Mohammed Ben Sulayem, by dint of all of the chaos that's going on in his organisation, all of the plethora of people that are leaving, the deluge of key personnel and intellectual property that have come out of the conversation over the last 12 to 24 months, he's not meeting the drivers at the right level, nor is he providing, by dint of the organisation, even the regulatory body that is the FIA, he's not providing the service at the level that he should be. Ergo, ladies and gentlemen, I conclude as follows. Here is my supposition. The FIA aren't providing a $40 million service to F1. Not the drivers, not the teams, not the team principals, and definitely not us as a community that spend our hard-earned cash following this crazy, weird and wacky circus that is the one that F's all around the world. It, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury, is not good enough. Prosecution rests. No further questions, Your Honour.